Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving into some breaking news and powerful words from Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, a man who's not just the face of the franchise, but the emotional anchor of the entire locker room. Just days before the Cowboys head out for their next big challenge, Dak sent a message that's resonating through the NFL world. It's firm, confident, and deeply personal, a reminder of where he's been, what he's learned, and why he's standing by his teammates even as trade rumors swirl around the team. This isn't just another player giving a clutch quote after a loss. This is a veteran leader showing the kind of resolve that can define a season. 2 days before Dallas's trip to Denver, Prescott sat down with the media and reflected on how far he's come since the last time he played in the Mile High City. Back then, he was a rookie, a young quarterback with raw talent and a hot start who, as he put it, almost didn't get coached in the details. That phrase says a lot. It tells us how far Dak has evolved from being a natural athlete leading on instinct, to becoming a cerebral quarterback who understands the game at a deeper level. And as he looked back, his tone wasn't one of arrogance or regret. It was the tone of a man who's learned from every high and every painful low. Prescott has faced injury setbacks, playoff heartbreaks, and constant scrutiny, but through it all, he's sharpened his understanding of leadership and the subtle art of holding a team together. That reflection set the stage for a tough reality check in Denver, where the Cowboys fell hard, losing 44-24 to the Broncos. It was a bruising defeat that reignited conversations across sports media about whether the Cowboys should look at potential trades or roster changes before the deadline. Analysts began tossing around names, speculating on what kind of moves Dallas might make to retool or re-energize its season. But when Dak Prescott was asked about whether a trade could jumpstart the team, his answer wasn't just another soundbite, it was a statement of loyalty and belief. He said, "I trust and like the guys that we have. I honestly do, and that's not just a political answer. Our roster is okay. Can it be better? That's for you guys to write about and to judge. I trust those guys." Those words, simple as they may sound, carried the weight of a leader refusing to point fingers. Prescott wasn't dismissing the idea of improvement, he's far too realistic for that, but what he was really doing was planting a flag for his locker room. In the face of a tough loss and mounting speculation, he made it clear that his faith remains in the men beside him. In the modern NFL, where quick fixes and instant results dominate headlines, Dak's perspective felt almost old school. He's saying chemistry matters more than impulsive changes, that trust and cohesion can't be bought or traded for. And that kind of message, especially after a blowout loss, says a lot about the maturity of the Cowboys quarterback. The defeat in Denver came after an October filled with wild swings, highs that had fans dreaming of a deep playoff run, and lows that reminded everyone how fragile momentum can be in this league. Just a week earlier, Dallas delivered a statement win over the Washington Commanders, with Prescott looking sharp and composed, dissecting defenses with precision. Then came Denver, where the rhythm vanished and frustration took over. But even as frustration set in for fans and analysts, Dak's message was one of stability. His tone suggested that this team doesn't need panic or chaos, it needs patience and execution. It's a message that fits with how Prescott has talked about his team all season. He's been consistent in emphasizing the value of chemistry and collective growth. Throughout the year, Dak has spoken about confidence being earned, not assumed, and execution being the one true measure that separates good teams from great ones. It's not about highlight plays or post-game narratives. For him, it's about the work, the details that happen behind closed doors, in the film room, and on the practice field when no one is watching. That focus on detail is something Prescott has earned through experience. His last trip to Denver, back in 2017, was one he still remembers vividly and not fondly. He's called that outing one of his uglier performances. The young quarterback then was overwhelmed by a tough Broncos defense and the altitude of the mile-high atmosphere. But that game, painful as it was became a turning point. Dak has often mentioned that experiences like that taught him to embrace hard coaching and to never shy away from critique. He learned to lean into the uncomfortable parts of growth, the film sessions that expose your weaknesses, the practice drills that demand absolute precision, the humility to accept that even the best players have blind spots. This time, Prescott arrived in Denver with a completely different mindset. He's a veteran now, one who has taken the hits, faced the boos, and still stands firm. He understands that being a franchise quarterback isn't just about throwing touchdowns, it's about setting the tone when the walls seem to be closing in. His comments reflected not just confidence, but perspective. Even as trade rumors swirl and fan frustrations rise, Dak remains steady. He's the heartbeat of a team that's trying to stay grounded amid the noise. And the noise this season has been loud. Dallas has been one of the most scrutinized teams in the league, with every win dissected and every loss magnified. The media chatter about possible trades is nothing new. Some have called for new additions at wide receiver, others for defensive reinforcements. But Dak's approach is about continuity, about building on the bonds that have already been formed. He knows that teams built on chemistry and mutual belief are often the ones that weather storms best. Interestingly, Prescott's stance lines up with what we've seen from him all year long. Even during his MVP-caliber stretch earlier in the season, he didn't make it about himself. Reporters tried to credit him for carrying the offense, but Dak consistently redirected praise toward his teammates. He's been saying all along that their success is about unity, about an offense that moves as one, about linemen holding their ground, receivers running disciplined routes, and running backs finding rhythm. To him, it's all connected. And that's what makes his leadership so compelling. It's not performative, it's authentic. Recent milestones have backed that up. Just last week against Washington, Prescott joined elite company by becoming one of only a handful of quarterbacks in recent decades to throw at least 3 touchdowns with no interceptions in 4 straight games. That streak placed him alongside legends like Russell Wilson in 2015, Drew Brees in 2019, Aaron Rodgers in 2014, Peyton Manning in 2013-14, and Tom Brady back in 2007. It's a remarkable run that shows just how efficient and in control he's been when things are clicking. ESPN's Adam Schefter highlighted the stat, and it sent waves through the league. But what stood out even more than the numbers was how Prescott handled the praise. He downplayed it, saying that his focus remained on what the team was doing collectively, not individually. For Prescott, that mindset has become second nature. He knows how fleeting individual accolades can be. What matters is what those numbers mean for the team's success, how they translate into wins, playoff pushes, and hopefully, championship contention. He's been through enough to understand that leadership is tested not in good times but in the moments when the foundation shakes. After all, this isn't the first time the Cowboys have faced turbulence. The past few seasons have been filled with injuries, criticism, and unmet expectations. Yet Prescott has remained a constant, the steady voice reminding everyone that the only way forward is through trust and perseverance. That's why his recent comments feel so important. When he says, "I trust those guys," it's not just talk. It's the lived experience of a man who's built deep relationships in that locker room. He's talking about the linemen who protect him, the receivers who run routes with precision, the defense that battles to give him a chance. And he's talking about coaches who've challenged him, sometimes harshly, but always with the goal of making him better. Prescott's leadership has always been about accountability, starting with himself. After the Denver loss, there were no excuses. He didn't deflect or blame anyone else. Instead, he talked about fixing the details and getting back to work. That's what makes his approach resonate with teammates. When your quarterback owns his mistakes and refuses to flinch under criticism, it sets a standard that everyone else feels compelled to meet. In many ways, this mindset mirrors the DNA of the Dallas Cowboys franchise itself. The Cowboys are an organization defined by expectation. Every season is supposed to be the year. And that kind of pressure can either break a team or forge it. Prescott's belief in continuity isn't about resisting change for the sake of comfort. It's about understanding that true progress comes from within. Trades and roster moves can help, yes, but if the internal culture isn't strong, no amount of external talent will fix it. Dak seems to understand that better than anyone. And make no mistake, his teammates hear him loud and clear. When your quarterback publicly says he trusts you, it matters. It builds confidence. It quiets doubt. It reminds everyone that this is a team built on faith in one another, not just faith in a system or a scheme. That's what makes the difference in close games and in the grind of a long season. As the Cowboys prepare for their next matchup against the Arizona Cardinals on November 3, the stakes are clear. They've shown flashes of brilliance this season, but consistency remains the goal. The road ahead won't be easy. The NFC landscape is competitive, and every week feels like a must-win battle. But if Dak Prescott's tone is any indication, this team isn't going to splinter under pressure. Instead, they'll use the setback in Denver as fuel. So as fans debate trades and analysts dissect numbers, Prescott's message stands as the heartbeat of the Cowboys' identity. Trust the room, fix the details, and let the work speak louder than the rumors. It's the kind of leadership that doesn't always grab headlines, but it's the kind that wins respect. In the end, that might be exactly what Dallas needs to steady its course. Prescott isn't just trying to save a season, he's shaping a culture built on accountability, faith, and relentless effort. And that, more than any trade deadline drama, could define the story of this Cowboys team. So, as the next game approaches, one thing's certain: Dak Prescott is standing tall, and his message is echoing through the locker room. We've got what we need right here. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Dak Prescott's powerful message and the state of the Dallas Cowboys, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another update on America's team.